Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today on Living Mythology, I'm proud to bring you Brian's Drive-In Theater with Brian Walker. And today is our post-Halloween special. It'll be scary. Ooh, greetings, Brian. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Hercules. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to learning about movies and comparing notes on movies that I've seen.
Yeah, and we haven't talked for a while. We kind of missed the Halloween season, so oops, sorry.
Okay.
And between the last time we spoke and tonight, I've actually seen quite a few films. Mostly at the theater, oddly enough, but I've watched some at home as well. And I walked away every once in a while. I get kind of worried about films and what's going to happen to them. I'm afraid eventually that we're not really going to have theaters much anymore. And if we do, I think they're going to be, in larger metro areas. I don't think smaller towns are going to have theaters. And the town that I live in is down to like one megaplex, and that's it.
Ooh.
And that's all we've got. And I got to say, even when I've been to see some popular films, I haven't seen a whole lot of attendance. But I'm going to have to back up on that one just a little bit because there was one movie that I saw about a month ago that had great attendance. And I wish I could tell you that it was new, but it wasn't. It was actually the 1996 version of Scream. It was the very first Scream. That's with Nev Campbell,
Mhm.
Courtney Cox, David Arquette, Skeet Ulrich, and Matthew Lillard. I hadn't seen it for years, and oddly enough, as much physical media as we've got, especially when it comes to horror films, we don't have a copy of it, which surprised me. Now
That
there've been
surprises me a great deal. We have the whole series.
two.
And, like half a year ago, we started watching all of them, so we've recently seen it again. It was great to watch.
Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I have not seen that movie for oh golly, probably 25 years or more. It
Uh,
came out in 1996, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we saw it in the theater when it came out. I'm pretty sure we did. Still surprised that I don't have a of it though. So I may have to change that for a bit. But I had forgotten, what a great thriller it is. It's got a couple of interesting plot twists. And a horror film that kills off major characters left and right, it can't be all bad. And I think it's exceedingly well done. I forgot, yeah, I should have mentioned that Rose McGowan's in it too. uh, so it's got star power. The acting in it I think is terrific. um, and it's a great film, and it's had a number of sequels um, over the years. For me, the original is the best. Although I did see Scream 2, and I didn't think it's not as good as the original one, but I didn't think it was that bad.
yeah, there were a bunch of them, and I like how they continued from movie to movie, and they really paid attention to little details that they built upon later on. And I like the ongoing commentary on horror movies uh, as the horror movie unfolds. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor in it, especially with Matthew Lillard's character. He seems to specialize in comedy more than anything else. And he was Shaggy in the Scooby Doo movies and stuff.
Yes.
And he's still working, by the way. I think Matthew Lillard's probably mid 50s. I would say. Still looks largely the same as he did. Um, but his character in it is kind of annoying or grating, but really well done. So, I can't fault his performance at all. In fact, I think it's a terrific performance.
I
But
agree.
his character's this annoying 17-year-old kid, and he's really good at portraying an annoying 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, I like the way they used the mask that they used also, and then they kept using the same mask, and it became iconic, and it became just like Jason's mask and Freddy's burnt face. It became something that really, really, really spoke of the brand and represented the brand well.
Yeah, and I mean, everything came together to make that movie a big hit. And I was thrilled that AMC and that our local theater, which is the only one that's left, is an AMC theater. And they've made a couple of changes in their programming this year that I've really appreciated. One is that they brought back some classic horror movies in October. Some are better, and I went to see Scream in October at AMC. Loved it. The print looks fantastic. There's a lot of dark scenes, and those movies, if you watch them at home, you have to watch them at night, or you have to be in a room where you can, kind of block out all kind of all light so that you can really focus on the image itself. And in the theater, with the large screen and such a beautiful print, it just looked so good. Now we went to see another classic film. Well, we went to see another old horror film at AMC. I think the week before we saw Scream, and I was not blown away by it at all. I'd never seen this movie before, and it has a few. I think it has like two sequels, and it was remade once. It's called Candyman.
Yes, with the Todd in it.
Yes, and Virginia Madsen. And I like. There were things about it I like, but it just doesn't come together as a horror film. I mean, in one sense, they've got sort of bleak nailed down. The setting for the movie is just grim, and that works. I mean, it looks good on screen. I mean, it looks horrible on screen, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, so that part of it works, and Virginia Madsen is terrific in it. I mean, well, all the actors. It's just that the screenwriting, the plot is just not quite there. And mm,
I remember when that first came out. I was living and working in New York City at the time, and one of my coworkers, who was also into the paranormal,
mm,
told me that Candyman was based on an actual superstition, and that the Candyman character of the film was very similar to the Bloody Mary. Like if you look into the mirror and you say Bloody Mary a number of times, then the
yeah.
ghost here. The Candyman was something similar to that, except in a more urban neighborhood.
Hmm.
They took that and they wove film out of it. I was never able to verify that story, but it's possible.
No, that is a very good interpretation of that movie. And that part of it works. My part of it is that it just ends. It doesn't. They only take it so far, and I think it's a problem with the script, and maybe direction. But the performances themselves, the actors are terrific. The sets are grand, depressing, and they're supposed to. So there's a lot to enjoy about Candyman, but I walked out of there thinking, "Ugh," and part of that might have been me too, because this is a movie that I've heard of for a long time. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but I just never did watch it. And after I did watch it, was kind of unhappy with it, quite honestly. I wasn't very satisfied with it. I don't care if I ever watch it again. I'm never watching the sequels. So, but there were things about it that I did appreciate.
I haven't felt the yen to see it again. I haven't seen it in years. So
Yeah. Now here's one that was speaking of AMC. When our Regal theaters or Hollywood, whichever it was branded both. Went out of business about a year ago. But when they were still open, our Regal Theater would have Monday mystery movies, um, where you were given the genre, an approximate runtime, and you could buy tickets at a discounted rate. I think it's usually about half. So if a movie ticket's $12, it would be like 6 or something like that.
that's a good deal.
And if you look at Reddit, you can usually figure out what movie it is. It's usually just a few days before a release, and releases are usually Thursday, Friday. Um, and if it tells you it's horror and it's roughly 104 or roughly an hour and 45 minutes, you can go look to see what's going to be released and then hit Reddit, usually figure out what it is. Well, we went to see one that we were pretty sure was going to be Shelby Oaks. And guess what?
What?
It was Shelby Oaks. And I was kind of excited about it too, because I'd heard a lot about the movie. And it was made with a very small budget. Director Stuckman, and this is his first movie. He's done like short films on YouTube, but this was his first full-length horror film, and I really liked it. I was almost expecting a sort of Blair Witch Project kind of feel to it, and it does have there are some overtones of that, but actually I think maybe it's done with a little more finesse than Blair Witch Project was. I mean, I like Blair Witch, but it's a little crude in spots. This has more polish to it. And it involves this woman who gets involved with these very seedy characters in a very seedy part of Ohio. And she disappears, and her sister comes looking for her and gets sucked into the same nightmare as her sister has been in. And I don't want to say too much about Shelby Oaks. I don't want to give away the plot too much since you haven't seen it. But I loved it. I really thought it was good. That's not a perfect movie or anything, but you want to talk about grim? Whoa! it, it's really grim, and that seems to be a theme in a lot of horror movies. If you'll notice, in most, at least newer horror films, and this might have started with Rob Zombie. Now that I think about it, the settings are disgusting. Everything's filthy.
Uh-huh.
Um, if it didn't start with Rob Zombie, he has certainly brought that along. You're watching Scream; these are all like middle class, upper middle class kids. So the murders take place in nice, clean homes, you know. Um, and you can't say that about Candyman, which is not a good movie, of course, but or uh, Shelby Oaks, because these are really grim. And it does, I think it does add something to the horror element of it. I like the sanitized horror too, um, but the setting of Shelby Oaks is very grim. And like I said, that's kind of a running theme tonight because we saw Black Phone and Black Phone 2. I had never seen the original Black Phone.
I've never seen those at all.
I watched them. Uh,
Okay.
they're both really good. Ethan Hawke is the antagonist in both of them, and they're really good. They're both really well done. But you want to talk about bleak, especially the first one. In the first movie, Ethan Hawke is this psychotic who kidnaps teenage boys from a high school and then tortures them to death, essentially. This doesn't seem to be a sexual thing or anything like that. It's just full on torture. And he, well, essentially grabs the wrong kid, and that's where all of this takes place. It takes place in the late 1970s, and uh, the Ethan Hawke is keeping his victim in this basement that has very little light or anything, but there is an old black like 1960s 1970s kitchen phone mounted on the wall. It's not supposed to be connected to anything, but it keeps ringing. And the voices of the teenage boys who have been murdered in that basement in the past are on the other end of the line. I hope I haven't
That movie.
ruined much of it, but
I did see that movie.
you have seen it?
Yes, now that you're describing it, I saw that at one point.
Okay. What'd you think of it? I loved it. I thought it was really good.
It was, as I get older, I'm less um attracted to the more like physical types of gore, and I like the psychological things a little
Oh,
bit.
okay. Mhm.
But I think it was very well done. It was very effective, and I remember the use of the phone was very well done.
I really liked it. The second one is a bit different, um, but at first, maybe for the first 10-15 minutes or so,
Mhm.
I was shaking my head in the Black Phone 2 because I kept thinking, gosh, this just isn't going anywhere. It's not coming together. But it does gel, and the end result is a very good sequel. I, there's more going on in the sequel than there is in the original film. I think I usually do prefer the original films, and in this case, I definitely do. Just because the concept is the plot line, I should say, is new. It's fresh. It's a little bit different, in terms of backstory and all that for Black Phone 2. But both movies are really well done, and I'm a big fan of both of them. I don't the way the movie. Gosh, it's hard to talk about things and not spoil them, but um, the way the
All
second.
I do is say spoilers ahead.
Well, that's true. I'm not sure that they could possibly do a third one, but it did very well at the box office. And box office for October was terrible this year. I read an article about it in Variety a couple of days ago. There were a few films that did pretty well. The Jurassic Park movie,
Hmm.
uh, and I think this was for September 1st to November 1st. I think that's what it was. Um, Tron, uh, I mean, it did decent box office, but it didn't make as much money as it needed to. The Superman film did really well,
I
and
liked the Superman film. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I liked it.
I want to see it. And I've been meaning to see it for like the last couple of months, and I just haven't done it yet. But I will get that. I will watch that. I'm a big fan of Superman, in all of its different versions. But no, I haven't watched that one. We did watch a couple of movies that actually aren't horror films. Have you seen One Battle After Another?
I don't believe so.
Okay, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, um, and Sean Penn.
No, I haven't seen it.
They're the two leads in it. Um, it's fantastic. It's exceedingly well done. I'm not a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan, but he is excellent in this movie. I mean, I got to say, I'm also not a Leonardo DiCaprio detractor either. Um, I'm not always crazy about the properties that he's in, but I thought this movie was. I love the plot line. Um, he's in the 70s. He's a wannabe revolutionary. Um, not 70s, but I guess would be 90s. And he's with a woman who is she's definitely a revolutionary, and she's 8-9 months pregnant and is knocking over a bank, and the deal goes down badly. Um, she has the baby, and she winds up escaping. And Leonardo DiCaprio is able to fly under the radar and takes the baby with him and raises her. Um, and in the meanwhile, she becomes uh, calling them revolutionaries. I'm not sure that's the. I don't want to call them guerrillas either, but but they are kind of revolutionaries. Um, and it's contrasted with sort of the federal government and the military, and that's kind of represented by Sean Penn, who has a really strong performance
Mhm.
in the film. And the film itself, I can't remember the actress's name who portrays Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter, but she's really good at it. And as a matter of fact, all the performances are excellent in One Battle After Another. And that's one movie that we've seen in the theaters that I want to watch again at home when it hits streaming. I don't know if it has or not, if it's hit streaming yet, but I thought it was excellent. It was very good.
I will keep it in mind as I look for movies to watch.
It is excellent. Um, uh, ever there's not a weak performance in it. Um, the action when it does not it, it's it keeps you engaged. I'm a big sucker for a car scene, not a terrific car chase scene. uh, it's very inventive. Like I said, very strong performances. The plot's very engaging. And nobody, there's been some controversy about the movie that it was woke and all this. I don't think anybody really comes out looking great, either side. I mean, but both sides are flawed, obviously. One side I think is more flawed than the other, so maybe that's where that comes from. Uh, but I really thought that One Battle After Another uh, deserved the accolades that it got. It's a very good film. And another very good film that I saw was The Long Walk. Have you seen that?
No, I don't think I've seen that one either.
Okay, it's based on a Stephen King property, and it stars Cooper Hoffman, who is Philip C. Hoffman's son. He's young too. He's pretty, I don't know, maybe mid 20s. And it takes place in this dystopian version of the United States that I think we're living in now, but where these 50 young men have to, well, they sign up to compete in a televised walk, and 49 of these people are going to die. The way the walk is set up.
I saw the trailer and the commercial. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so if you start falling behind in your walk, you are warned, and if you stop walking, you will be shot and killed. So that's how they, bleed people off. And it's not, to tell you the truth, it's not exactly my type of film so much, but it's exceedingly well done. Ex There again, the settings are like it's a dystopia, so the settings aren't pretty. Very depressing film, um, and exceedingly well acted, very well done, well written. Um, Even the cinematography looks good. It's a terrific film. I was Before I saw it, I was trying. I had I'd read some about it, and I'd watched the trailer, and I was thinking, well, how are they going to keep this up for 2 hours? Just walking, and it wasn't a problem. I mean, they did a very good job with it.
Yeah, even reading about walking, that must face the same challenges as portraying it as something attention grabbing and attention focusing for a couple of hours.
Mhm. And one of the reasons that it does hold your attention is that the performances are so good. Cooper Hoffman, for such a young actor, um, does a fantastic. Mark Hamill has who has Mark Hamill's been in like Star Wars. He's been in a lot of different properties, and he's the antagonist in the film. And I knew he was in it, but I was halfway through the movie until I figured out who he was in the movie. I'd kind of forgotten that he was in it. So he you really dissolves, into this character. And he Mark Hamill, the person I'm used to thinking as Mark Hamill. He's very active on social media, so I've seen a lot of his performances.
And he
Um,
was a Joker for many years, so he's able to play bad guys exceptionally well.
he's terrific in this. But like I said, he just sort of melts into the character, and you don't really see Mark Hamill anymore. It's a very good job. He's a good actor, and it's a terrific movie. If you like uplifting films, this isn't it. uh, and that's one of the reasons that I say that, this isn't really my kind of movie, because I either like horror. I want something to have a react to make me have a reaction, whether it's a horror film or something that's uplifting. And this one's kind of depressing, quite honestly, but exceedingly well done, and it really makes you think. We saw it with a couple of friends, and then we had dinner after we saw the film, and we talked about it all through dinner. I just really impressed with it. But there again, I'm not sure it's a movie that I would want to see twice.
I'm gonna wait till it's streaming somewhere free online. And catch.
It's like I said, very very high quality film. I loved it. Don't want to see it again, but I did think it was very good. And I was just kind of blown away by the performances in it. Most of the actors, the big characters in it, other than Mark Hamill, are very young, because this competition is supposed to take place with 50 young men. And these are young actors, and they do a fantastic job with the drama inherent in people essentially dying as they're on this long walk. Um, and it's just exceedingly well done, very well done.
I've been getting um, quite eclectic in what I wanted to watch. Like today, I had a feeling to watch really low budget films about Carmilla Karnstein, the vampire. So fortunately, Tubi has a bunch of them because I've watched two so far. I don't even remember the title of one of them. The other one was called Debbie Does Demons. Uh,
That's a new one on me.
yeah, very, very, very low budget.
Well, you know what? I mean, the nice thing about the horror genre is that you don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money.
Right. I'm
Uh,
having fun with them.
and some horror films are among like the highest earners,
Mhm.
because oftentimes they don't spend a lot of money on them, and they do really well at the box office. The Terrifier films, I think, are a good example of that.
So I was thinking of that because you pointed that out before that the Terrifiers, the first one especially, wasn't made with a big budget, and it 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 obviously made its mark in the cinematic world, and it's had two sequels so far.
And I think there's a third one in the pipeline
Oh,
too.
wow.
Uh, and you and I both love Christmas horror so much.
Yes.
Terrifier 3 qualifies as Christmas horror. And I was able to pick up and it's upstairs right now, unfortunately, but it's an Art the Clown popcorn bucket, the promotional piece from uh, not sure if it was in Cinemark theaters or if it was in AMC theaters, but it's the popcorn bucket. I don't know, probably about a foot tall. Um, and it's Art the Clown's face. He's got a Santa cap on and blood splattered all.
There's a character that looks like Art, because on Tubi, again, when I type in Terrifier, a lot of other films that have a character that looks just like him pop up. I can't think of any titles offhand.
Hmm.
But I was wondering if the character appeared in other films before they tried his own film, or
I don't. Maybe it's just sort of a common makeup theme.
maybe.
Um, but this popcorn bucket is on the back. It's embossed and it says Terrifier 3. The plastic on it's a popcorn bucket, and a lot of people collect those these days. The theaters all sell them. Some are actually, I think, quite fetching. Very nice. Others, I think, are kind of stupid. Um, and I'm not really sure. I'm sure there are plenty of people who collect them. They can be kind of sizable, however. So I'm not really sure what you do after you collect these things. I only have a couple of popcorn buckets, but the one with Art the Clown, I couldn't say no. I had to buy it. But I got a pretty good deal on it. Those things are usually like $30, and I think I got it for 25
Oh, good.
at an antique mall. Um, and I put a light in it. It's part of our one of the reasons I wanted to buy it is that when we decorate our house, and we're kind of in the middle of redecorating it right now for Christmas, we start in September and we do Halloween. Well,
Hmm.
in November, we switch over to Christmas from Halloween.
No Thanksgiving?
Yeah, actually, we do have some more and more Thanksgiving stuff, but that's kind of woven into Christmas.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, the Art the Clown popcorn bucket can't be both. It can be Halloween and it can be Christmas. So I kind of tickled to death with that. It's nice not having to move everything out.
Right.
If we can keep certain things, uh, more is the better. And now that is one movie that I'm going to watch here pretty soon. Um, I'm hosting Thanksgiving at my house again this year,
Awesome.
and I need to have the Christmas tree. I need to have the house decorated outside, inside, and I need to have the Christmas tree uh, put up, trees plural, put up as well. So I've got a lot of work to do over the next couple of weeks, I suppose. But we're definitely watching Terrifier 3 again. My mother watched it um, when she
Oh,
was
really?
when she was here. It was when it hit streaming. I can't remember which streaming service it was on, and she likes horror films, and it it even made her pause.
Yeah, there's some scenes in there that would make anybody pause.
They're wild.
Beyond in the movie too.
But the whole time she was watching it, she was just sort of like this. She didn't look away, however. Uh, uh, but I love the Terrifier movies. The first one's really rough edged, but for $25,000, I think it's a good movie.
Oh, definitely. Definitely for that
And
money.
the second one's pretty good, and it was about 250 grand. The last one, 3, I believe they spent like 2.5 million, which is nothing, for
Right.
a full length film. And they had a couple of some better actors in it, some name people. If Clint Howard's going to be in a movie, I'm up to watch it. He's been in some great movies over the years.
Do you know what four is going to be about?
I don't know, but I'm excited to see it. Speaking of which, Universal Studios in Florida, when they set up their haunts for Halloween, they had a Terrifier
Oh, wow. I never would have thought that.
haunt. I That would be awesome to see. From what I understand, the haunts at Universal are the lines for them are very long, and you might have to wait in line for several hours just to go through one. I don't have that much patience, and I've also got arthritis in my feet, so
Mm.
really I can't do really long lines. So much I need to keep moving. But still, it may be something to think about in the future.
I remember back in 1991, I think it was 1990, 1991, I was out in California and Universal had the Conan exhibit. So
Hmm.
for me, I thought it would always be there, and I'll catch it on another trip. And of course, it wasn't. Next time, a year or two later, that I visited San Diego, the Universal Conan was gone. So I missed experiencing that. I've seen pictures of it. I've seen videos of it. I've heard stories of it. I would have liked to see that. So that's my one regret with Universal.
Well, Universal Hollywood used to have a monsters exhibit at the very top of the park. Um, it was fantastic. There were no animatronics. It was all live action.
Hmm.
So they just have live actors portraying the individual roles. And there was one point at which you walk into Victor Frankenstein's laboratory, and it was just like being in the 1931 film. I was just it was just spectacular. Um, and I was blown away. Both well, each time we went to Universal Hollywood, that's the reason we went, was to go back to the monsters exhibit. Unfortunately, they did away with it, I think, about 6 or 7 years ago.
Um, that's a
I
shame.
know it's it's kind of heartbreaking because it was so well done. The last time we went through it, and this was probably 2012 or something like that. The person who was portraying Wolfman scared the crap out of me at the very end of the attraction. And he was such a nice guy. He wound up giving me a hug, and they're not supposed to touch you, but I was just
Mhm.
okay, whatever. But he looked great too. He wasn't wearing a rubber mask. I mean, he was in full makeup. He had stuff glued to him. He looked fantastic.
And it sounds like he was playing the part too.
And like I said, I knew what I was in, and he still scared the crap out of me. So I loved it.
Yeah, I wish they had some nearer to where I live now. Um, Traveling has become a problem, and so I believe that my visiting these types of places is something in the past.
Well, it depends on the type of experience, but and it also depends on the park. But some of them, I think, do a better job in welcoming people. The one the amusement park that we have close by here is called Kennywood. It's Pittsburgh's amusement park, and they do a Halloween um, program every year for usually for about a couple of months, really. And it used to be called Phantom Fright Nights, but I think now it's called Fall Fest. They've changed it a little bit. Uh, it's if you have a season ticket, you can go every night, essentially. And even if you're only there for an hour or two, I think that if you make a few visits, um, I think you get more of a feel for the park. When you're traveling with older people, I think it's a really good idea to go early. Young people show up late for things, old people show up early. And
Yes.
if you get the jump on people, if you can get early park admission or at least be in line, before the place starts, you'll be able to do more stuff. You'll be able to do more of the haunts. And by the time the park gets full, you leave. And that can be one way to deal with some of it. It does mean multiple visits, which can be a
Mhm.
problem. But if if your energy level starts running low, there's no reason to like stick around, especially if you can come back again if you have like a season ticket kind of thing. Now, do you have any local like hay rides, haunted hay rides, or anything like that? Haunts.
Northwestern New Jersey, and Athena, when she was younger, used to work at some of those Halloween places.
Hmm.
I played different roles and really got into the roles. I've seen the pictures and clips. She also used to be go to Dark Shadows conventions and do skits. So she's much more theatrical than I am, and got more into the Halloween than I ever did, even though it's my favorite holiday and I'm immersed in it more than most people.
Well, speaking of Dark Shadows, and I don't know why this has happened, but I think it's HBO Max has Dark the old episodes of the television series Dark Shadows available, and we have been binging them here and there.
Oh, great.
As you know, it was a 30-minute soap opera, and there are a lot of episodes. Uh,
Yes, a lot of them. I used to watch it when I was in grammar school. I used to run home to catch Dark Shadows, and I was glued to that TV. And my mother remembers the time when I said I'm going to tell my grandchildren about watching Dark Shadows. I probably will. I got two grandchildren so far. When they're
well,
old,
and
I'll
and and if you have HBO Max, they'll be able to watch Dark
watch
Shadows.
them.
Uh, well, it was a groundbreaking soap opera. So,
Yes.
um, until Dark Shadows came out, most soap operas were centered around hospitals, and they were boring. Oh my
Mhm.
God. And it was all about people's maladies and people getting married and getting divorced. I mean, it was just dull stuff. And finally, you get a gothic soap opera with Dark Shadows, and um, I mean, it took it a little while to like gain a foothold, but once it did, especially when they brought Barnabas Collins.
Barnabas and Quentin and all those guys. I like the
And,
Ben Cross iteration. I even like the Johnny Depp comedic interpretation, and I wish that it had incarnated again. I saw the movies. I like the first one. I didn't like the second one that much with the original crew.
oh, Night of Dark Shadows and House of Dark Shadows.
Yes. Yes, I liked House of Dark Shadows and the Night of Dark Shadows. They changed the mythos. They changed the story a little bit too much. They had Quentin, who was one of my favorite characters, but it was a different Quentin. So,
Well, several of the actors who were appearing in the soap opera are in that second movie, but it does veer away from the Collins family. Um, and that's a movie that we did watch pretty recently. Was Night of Dark Shadows. I like it because it does feature some of the same Grayson Hall,
right.
Kate Jackson, David Selby, Carolyn Barrett, and John Carlin. They're all in it, and were major characters, in the TV series.
I
Um,
used to have the record, the 33 record, and um, wow, I had the Barnabas Collins game. I had the Barnabas Collins model. I had the werewolf model. I really got into it.
I had the Frankenstein model from the early '70s,
Yes.
um, and I had the Barnabas Collins Milton Bradley board game,
Hmm.
which is essentially Hangman, as I recall. You had to you spun
Yeah, pretty much.
the dial, and then you had this plastic hangman that you.
The model of Barnabas fit perfectly in the coffin from the board game. So I used to have Barnabas. I had a house made out of cardboard, and Barnabas was in the basement, and I didn't have chains as a little kid, but I had rubber bands. So the rubber bands represented the chains that kept Barnabas in his coffin. And every now and then Barnabas would get out, and I had Captain Actions and Action Boys with the different costumes. So I used to make all these adventures, and Doctor Evil was part of the adventures. And
Um, well, since we've been watching a lot of Dark Shadows, for whatever reason, it's gotten picked up on the algorithm on our YouTube channel.
uh-huh.
And we've been watching a lot of interviews with the cast members over the
Oh,
years.
great.
Those have been kind of fun to watch. Um, you know, uh, Most of the cast members now are gone. Uh, I think Jonathan Frid died probably
Yes.
probably about a dozen years ago. He appeared in the Johnny Depp
Yes,
version.
he did, and I think David Selby and some of the other ones appeared in that movie too. They're all together.
Hmm. And since then, most of them are now gone, um, which is sad. But the show holds up.
Yes,
It really does. I mean, this is like a 60-year-old soap opera, and it's still pretty good.
remember the Hand of Count Petofi and
Um, where we are right now is the Barnabas has bewitched Maggie Evans,
oh, okay.
um, and I think that's where we are in terms of the episodes right now. But the show was so much fun, and I think after this, I think they like dive into like the late 1700s for a while because they shifted back and forth in time because they took a segment of Dark Shadows and did Barnabas's backstory.
Yes. So did the Ben Cross version. They went back in time. I remember they had the I Ching wands, and they used the wands to open up these doors that went to the past into different places.
The the original series was shot in Connecticut, oddly enough,
Hmm.
um, and they had an interesting pastiche of cast members as well. You had Joan Bennett, who was sort of like old Hollywood.
Yes.
Um, you had stage actors like Jonathan Frid and Louis Edmonds. And then you had some newcomers like Carolyn Barrett, Laura Parker, um, Alexandra Moltke.
Hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, most of them are gone now. I think Carolyn Barrett's still with us, and Alexandra Moltke is still alive. And the young actor who portrayed David, Louis Edmonds' son, is still with us, but most everybody else is
And
gone.
his name's David Hennessy, I think. Am I, if I'm not,
I think you're right. I think that is his name.
yeah, good times, good times.
Well, I hate that soap operas are gone now because they used to be some of them. They weren't all after Dark Shadows kind of exploded the mold, you know,
Right.
of soap operas. Um, th- th- they got fun for a while. Greg still watches Days of Our Lives. He watches it every day. It's not on NBC anymore. It's not on broadcast, I should say. You have to watch it via Peacock. But he's all involved in that, and he enjoys that. I wish soap operas would come back because it gave you like 5 days a week with a certain group of characters, and if it had a plot or a theme to it, they could be pretty engaging. And it
Hmm.
used to be at least back in the 60s or 70s, maybe even 80s, they would usually have a couple, maybe anywhere from two to four lead actors who had once had decent film careers or were good character actors, people who still needed to work, but
Right.
but did a good job on their soaps. And Dark Shadows had Joan Bennett, for that.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Hmm.
And Quentin just said, "Dear, dear Judith, walk into my parlor," said the spider to the fly. I'm remembering all the time. And I looked at the clock. We have like 4 minutes, and so we'll have to do a part two to the show.
Well, but for the next show coming up in December, we got to talk about Christmas Horror again.
That's very true. If you are free between now and then, and we can sneak in another show, it's a possibility that's open to you if you could find time in your schedule, and I'll try to make time in my schedule to make it happen.
Well, that sounds great. I'd love to.
Okay, awesome. And I'm glad that you arrived back home safely from your vacation and that you had a good time. Uh, give my love and regards to Greg, and I look forward to our next conversation, hopefully sooner than a month. Uh, Anything new and exciting you want to share? And also, how can people find the drive-in?
For now, I'm just trying to maintain. I've got two elderly parents and living in two different states, and I've been driving back and forth quite a bit between their homes. Fortunately, they're both still doing pretty good.
I'm
Uh,
glad.
both still living on their own. I'm going to see my father this weekend, as a matter of fact. So I'm kind of in a holding pattern because of that, but I'm still updating the website every day, and there's still a movie of the day every day as well. Throughout the month of October, I ran the horror movies just about every day, and really enjoyed them as well. There's some fantastic public domain horror film titles. There really are. And if you want to interact with me on social media, I'm still just on Facebook, but you can find me by keying Brian's Drive-In Theater in the search box. And as always, you can find me on the web at briansdrivein-theater.com. And this is Tippy.
Hi, Tippy. I will give Tippy credits for today's episode. Special guest appearance by Tippy.
All right. And I
Thanks
was
for. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just saying that she never makes an appearance. Usually, you just see her tail, but that's kind of rare that she'll actually pop up her face.
Well, I'm
Okay.
glad she graced us with an appearance today. So thank you, Brian. Have a wonderful day, success in all your endeavors, and I will talk to you very soon. And to all those listening at home, until next time, this is us wishing you joyous journeys and amazing adventures. Good night. Be well.
Good night, Hercules.